Hi, everybody. You know, as of late, I just couldn't stay silent as I watched our president get bullied, harassed, and basically dehumanized by the four women who call themselves the Squad. They accuse of President Trump of being a racist. I can tell you from personal experience, President Trump's vice chair for the state of Indiana is Tony Samuel. He's from Pakistan like I am, at least his family is. He was born in the UK. But he was his vice chair, and he's brown like I am. So no, President Trump is not racist. He has people on his staff that are women, that are men, that are black, that are white. There are all nationalities. I don't think that that's a very pertinent, you know, he had Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is a Punjabi girl like me. She's from India. Her family was from Punjab, but she is a Punjabi girl. So no, President Trump does not have a racist bone in his body. Now, he's not the real racist. My question to the girls is, you guys call him Lawless. Omar, you called him Lawless. From what I've read about you, you actually circumvented U.S. laws, state laws in your marriage, your two marriages. I believe one was to your brother for a short time, and then you reconciled with your ex-husband, and then you had another child. So to try to hold him to the same standards that you have, well, you know, you have really no position. You have no business trying to delegitimize him or talk about his past marital woes, because you've had your share too. And Tliab, you're divorced. You know, I have no problems with that. Many of us are. But to sit there and try to criticize him when I guess you guys are all just so perfect, you know. You guys say it's your America. Excuse me. President Trump, that's his America. He's our president. I'm an American. This is my America as well. And he's not lawless. He's the most law-abiding president. He's the most pro-law president that we've had, and a president of law and order. I can't say that about the last one. You guys complain about him constantly as far as his border policies and stuff. You know what? He's trying to stem the flow of child trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking, the drug dealers that are coming across, and many other nationalities that don't have another way to get in here, so they use the border to come. So, you know, don't sit there and comment about him. And then what's this, Omar, you said something about your America, that this is not our America, to some young, impressionable high school students. What is your America? What do you constitute as ours? Because you know what? You don't speak for me. The Squad, you guys, you don't speak for this brown girl. You don't speak for many of us brown women, okay? You don't stand for me. I would never insult my president. So don't sit there and try to say that. What is your idea of our America? There are 300 million of us Americans. What do you think defines your America? Deranged marriages? Because you know what? I'm just going to tell y'all, you know, I grew up in a Pakistani family. We were Christian by faith, Muslim by culture. When we turned a certain age to be married, 18, 19, and 20-something respectively, our parents took us back for what I call deranged marriages. Because you know what? Most of those people over there, they want to marry anyone so that they can come to America. And they were lined up because they wanted to come to America and marry. And I said no. I was the only one out of my two sisters that said, no, I'm not going to get married. So don't sit there and take that representation. And Miss Tliab, you called him a mofo. You said, such a nice little mouth you have. Oh, I want to impeach that mofo. I believe that was on the day that you were sworn in. What gives you the right to say that? You know, your districts have a crime problem. Your countries have a crime problem, a corruption problem, okay? And you guys complain about him. Your countries are hotbeds of terrorism and murder. And in that area controlled by the Palestinian Authority, who's more like the pain in the ass to the Israeli government, okay? I'm sorry. They fly kites. They throw bombs and rockets into schools, into nursing homes, okay? And you guys are constantly attacking the Jews. And you know what? You guys are doing the same thing here. Same thing here. What I've noticed, you guys have just basically been insulting America and President Trump. I have seen nothing but a barrage of hate, bullying, criticism leveled at our president since you guys came into office. And Omar, you said he is occupying the White House. He's an occupant. No. He was born and raised here. He has been in this country. He has seen for the last 50 years of his life what America has gone through. And he's not an occupier. Now, the one who really was the occupant was the last one, along with his Muslim Brotherhood occupants, okay, that took America to near ruin, gave billions of dollars to Iran, America and Israel's arch enemy, okay? That was so, so very wrong. Do you guys even realize the gravity of the situation if Iran were to get a nuke? I mean, if they exercised a nuclear bomb over Israel, all the surrounding Arab countries would suffer the fallout of it. So think before you guys speak. I don't think that you do. You know, next thing that you guys complain, white hatred. You call everybody a racist. If they don't agree with you, they're racist. Nancy Pelosi is a racist. President Trump is a racist, okay? I got news for you. 600,000 white people in American Civil War died to end slavery. Did you know that? 600,000, yeah. And from my own personal experience, when we first came to America, it was white people who helped our family get settled. It was white people who helped my parents get housing. It was white people who taught it was actually my dad's real close friend, Mr. Cato. He taught my dad how to drive, okay? We were welcomed by the white community. They weren't awful to us. You know, you constantly complain about them. White people went to what was Hindustan, okay? And they brought the message of the gospel. They brought civility. They brought schooling, education. They built schools. They built convents. They built hospitals. I know because my mother was raised in a convent because my grandmother was a widow. While she was pregnant with my mother, my grandfather died. So my mom was raised by nuns. You know, they were white. Yeah. White missionaries, okay? William Wilberforce against slavery abolished it. Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery. William Carey actually went to what is now India, and he actually helped end the practice of wife burning, okay? You guys always say, oh, we just want to do so much. You know what? Let me tell you guys something. Child marriage in your part of the world, in your culture, is very common. Female genital mutilation is very common. Deranged marriages are very common. Okay? Why don't you guys try to help your people in your cultures, in your part of the country, acclimate to the American way, okay? Let them have freedom. Let them enjoy opportunities here in America so that they're not forced to marry. They're not forced to stay in their own little enclaves. Because, you know, I can tell you from personal experience, when we were here in America, when we were in school here, we didn't go to any social events. We didn't wear jeans. We didn't wear makeup. We weren't allowed to wear dresses. We were not allowed to really socialize with any of our peers. Because it's a cultural thing. It's very difficult for people who come here to America. They only want to come here to educate, and then they want to stay in their own little enclosed parts of the country and their own little communities. And that is, I don't agree with that. I vowed I wouldn't raise my son like that. And I'm glad I didn't. And none of my sisters did either, okay? Another thing that I'm really, really upset about, I've actually seen you laugh, Miss Omar, about 9/11. You think it's funny. Al-Qaeda, all that. You know what? It's not funny. I have news for you. I don't know how much you've studied about 9/11 and what happened, but nearly 3,000 Americans were killed. But it was not just Americans. There were 86 nationalities that were murdered in the 9/11 attacks. 86, okay? Wrap your head around that. And there were Muslims, there were Christians, there were Jews, there were Japanese, there were all nationalities. In fact, one of our friends knew a guy who was a close friend of his whose wife was due to have a baby. And you know what he did? His friend decided to go to the World Trade Center and go to work instead of being there at the hospital with her. And he was amongst those people that perished. He was a Muslim, Omar. Do you think it's still funny? Do you still think the attack is funny? It's not funny, okay? It's not funny. Now, another subject that I have a problem with is your comments about Israel and the Jewish people. And you are totally for the BDS thing. And you complained about conservatives and American Congress leaders and other people for supporting Israel. And that, I find that to be very, very wrong and insulting. And I'll tell you why. Wrap your head around this, and this is historical fact. America exists because Jews exist, okay? America is America. Where you live, that you call your America, is America because the Jews live. It was a Jew named Haim Solomon who financed the Revolutionary War. Otherwise, there would be no America, okay? Now, I'd like to show you a picture of him. I don't know if you ever learned American history, but this is Haim Solomon, okay? Haim Solomon was the Jewish financier. Haim Solomon was also memorialized in a stamp in 1976 during the American Bicentennial. Yes, America exists because Jews exist. Next problem that I have is your comments about concentration camps, okay? You, along with the other girls, AOC and Tliab, oh, concentration camps! There are concentration camps! Oh my God! Oh, and Tliab, you call Allah a she. Let me tell you something. Even us Jews and Christians, we don't call our God a she. We call him Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel. And yes, he's our father, and he's a male. Getting back to the concentration camp comments, okay? Did you see anything like this when you went to the border? By the way, the border is not an embassy, okay? This is what a concentration camp looks like. Look at this. Now, did you see anything like this at the border? Did you see anything like this that looks like a concentration camp? This is what real concentration camps look like. Oh, look what we have here. The Grand Mufti meeting with Hitler. Grand Mufti, yeah, and other uncircumcised Philistine. There he is again. I'm sorry, but I'm really pissed, okay? I'm really pissed about this. Here's another photo of a concentration camp victim. Here's another one. Now, did you guys see any women at the border being chased down in their underclothes by a club-wielding Nazi at the border that you call a concentration camp? Another horrified woman after she saw these bodies. Lastly, here, did you see any men like this at the border? Okay, this is a photo of a concentration camp. How humiliating it must have been for these poor victims of Hitler and the Nazi hate machine, along with the Grand Mufti, the uncircumcised Philistine. Now, my observation is this. How typical of the left to put 4 helpless brown girls as their mouthpiece of impeaching, harassing, and bullying President Trump. You know, you are representatives here, okay? Act like it. Now, President Trump challenged you to go to your respective areas and take care of the problems there. You were not hired to insult, bully, delegitimize, and harass President Trump on social media, or were you? I have to wonder, were you? You know, the border is not an embassy. And we're getting a lot of murderers, rapists, killers coming. Your cultures, and even mine, actually, they have walls built around them, okay? You ladies need to be bridge builders. Help your people acclimate. You know, instead of dogging our president, you insult. You've been insulting, harassing, bullying, calling profanity-laced names directed at our president 24/7. It's not serving any purpose. You guys literally are acting like freshmen.